will get up and running, and it's live, of course, with us here on Sport Sound on BBC Radio Scotland. It is Dundee United against Rangers. Full live commentary with Craig Levine, Stephen Thompson and Alistair Lamont.
Thank you very much, Richard. Welcome one and all to Tannadice this late afternoon. Two informed sides, each looking to extend unbeaten runs to aid their respective causes at opposite ends of the league. United were rock bottom going into the World Cup break, but 2 wins and a draw since the restart means a victory this afternoon would take them ninth. Rangers, though, haven't lost in the 5 games Michael Beale has been in charge, or indeed the 2 games prior to that. They come into the game trailing Celtic by 12, a gap that hasn't been as wide since COVID brought a premature end to the 1920 season. It will be Dundee United to get us underway, going from right to left as we look at it from high up in the main stand. And United hoist the ball forward, and that'll go all the way through to John McLaughlin, all in yellow in the Rangers goal. Rangers in their traditional blue tops, white shorts, black and red socks. United likewise in their traditional tangerine tops and socks with black shorts, as Stephen Fletcher gets a first touch but isn't able to hold the ball up, and Goldson knocks it back once more to McLaughlin in the Rangers goal. Huge travelling support as Rangers enjoy early possession, and as Davies just outside his own penalty area square for Connor Goldson. It's Dundee United who ended Rangers' long unbeaten run. We are back in the Steven Gerrard era, towards the start of last season. And they will have that result, as Craig was saying, fresh in their mind. In fact, they've only lost one of their last 4 here against Rangers, won a couple of them. As Levitt gets his head to the ball, out comes to the left-hand side. It's Middleton, the former Rangers player. Didn't really ever make the most of his time at Rangers, but he's up against James Tavernier and he's got the better of him. He gets the ball into the area, but it's knocked away by Goldson at the near post. And Middleton, you would imagine, above all, will look to try and make an impression this afternoon. Picked up by Lundstrom, who's in the side again, despite recently being taking injections to get through games. Had to go off against Celtic after taking a dunt in the ribs, but here he is in the starting lineup once more and picks up possession from Connor Goldson into the middle of the park for Ryan Kent. Lundstrom once more looking for Cholak, who got the 2 goals in the 2-1 win over United earlier in the season back in September at Ibrox. A 2-1 win, 2 minutes played here, goalless, and really nothing so far, Craig Levine, to spark any great interest, that has to be said.
No. And you know, quite quickly the 2 white players for Dundee United will drop back and make a 5 along the back line, so it'll be a 5-2-3 at points, and then sometimes 2 of the front 3 might drop back and it becomes a 5-4-1, and that's the system that will be operated by Dundee United.
Here's Goldson coming up towards the halfway line. Now it's Tillman who's dropped into a right back position and then plays it back to Goldson. Michael Beale, Stephen was talking about, he wants more fluidity when they're attacking. It certainly looks like it's a fairly fluid formation for Rangers, players moving about all over the shop.
Yeah, it is, and I think the one thing you would say is since Michael Beale's arrived, Ryan Kent's had a more free role under Giovanni Van Bronckhorst. He was playing more as a winger, which I don't think really suited him. He likes to roam, he likes to come inside the pitch, and he's certainly been doing that since Michael Beale became Rangers manager.
Rangers have a throw in midway inside the United half, right hand side. Tavernier takes it to Tillman. Tillman goes down, no free kick though. Still Tillman battling away, trying to get past his man who's Aziz Behich, and eventually the decision goes Dundee United's way. I think it will just be a throw in the end for Dundee United midway inside their own half. 3.5 minutes played at Tannadice, no goals to speak of. 3-2 earlier in the day for Hibernian at Fir Park. Despite a late goal for Motherwell, there is no way back into the game for them. Hopefully we'll see a good number of goals here this afternoon as well, as Sakala goes in on McMahon. Breaks the way of Stephen Fletcher on the halfway line, left hand side. That's a wonderful switch of play for Ian Harkes. Freeman's bombing forward. Can Harks find them? It's Harks just inside the penalty area, blocked by Barisic. That was a good opening for Dundee United, and perhaps Harks should have made more of it, Craig.
A wonderful pass from Stephen Fletcher, wasn't it? It hit the ball almost 50 yards in a diagonal right into the path of Harks. And he just did it a little bit steering. I thought he maybe could have driven and played the ball back
Yeah, it was
inside.
as if he kind of didn't know what to do. He didn't have a trick, you know, he had room to go at the defender. I thought he could have gone on the outside slightly more, but he hit an early shot which was blocked, although it was inevitable what he was going to do. It was pretty predictable. You know, he needed a wee bit more imagination there, but fantastic from Stephen Fletcher, the way he brought the ball down, and then that pass with his left foot was a lovely pass indeed.
Freeman had made a good run as well in support of Harks.
He was desperately trying to get the kind of underlap there, but I think Harks had got his head down and just decided to hit the shot.
Right, I don't think he saw him.
No.
Rangers have a throw in over on the far side, about 20 yards from their own corner flag. Rangers left. Be taken by Borna Barisic. Down the left it goes, looking for the head of Cholak. It's over him though. United loft it forward. Golson just nods it back to McLaughlin at the edge of his penalty area. He just rolls it back out to Golson, who has made a bit of a difference, you would have to say, since coming back from injury.
Yeah, it was a huge miss when he was out. He's been such a big player for Rangers for the last few seasons, pretty much an ever present, and when he came out the side, there was no doubt that he was missed.
Here's Jack clipping it forward. Sakala looked offside. Header down for Tillman. The flag stayed down. Tillman for Tavernier. Tavernier with a rather tame attempt at a cross. Eventually the flag goes up.
What an absolute nonsense, honestly. That he's about 5 yards offside. And the linesman just waits and waits and waits and waits, and then eventually puts his flag up.
It's so frustrating. It's a real, I will never get my head around.
Well, clearly with the intervention of VAR, or the introduction of VAR, if you like, into Scottish football, assistants are encouraged to keep their flags down, especially when it's tight. But as you say, Craig, that one didn't look particularly a close one to call.
No, it genuinely was a 5 yards offside.
Clearance from the free kick by Birigiti, long upfield, picked up by Sibbald. Now Fletcher going back the way towards the halfway line. Now it's the United skipper Ryan Edwards who knocks it down the right channel. Ian Harts will give chase, but Borna Barisic will see that out of play, and it will be a Rangers goal kick. Sorry, Stephen, on you go.
I was going to say, Craig, everything so far from United when they've had control possession at the back has been a long pass. They're trying to get in behind Rangers, but they need more quality on the pass if they're going to be getting any joy with that.
That only works if you have quality. Yeah. And so many times I've seen United and other teams doing the pass where they play the ball forward, but the accuracy isn't there, so you're just going to end up defending the whole game.
Ryan Jack up to Ryan Kent on the halfway line, gets turned left hand side. Harks comes back with him. Barisic is outside of him, still Kent going, uses Barisic almost at the goal line, swings it in, but it's crossed the goal line. Ryan Kent just gave him a little bit too much to do there to try and wrap the foot around it, failed to do so, and it will be a goal kick.
I'll tell you what though, what a job Harks did there. He's tracked all the way back to make sure that Ryan Kent couldn't come inside onto his right foot. And that's the type of thing that United will need to do.
Well, it's what you spoke about before the game, and he's got a big role today to get up and support Stephen Fletcher, but you know he's got the engine to get back into that kind of protecting position in the right hand side, which he did ever so well there.
Goal kick then for Dundee United. 7.5 played at Tannadice, no goals. As Birigiti launches it long, Fletcher wins the flick on ahead of Lundstrom. Heavy touch from Barisic, and United have it back through Harks. Not forward by Sibbald. That should be comfortable for John McLaughlin just to come to the edge of his area on the left hand side of his box and gather before Freeman can make anything of it. And here's Ryan Jack picking up on the throw out from McLaughlin. Now it's Goldson about 15 yards inside his own half, plays it square to Ben Davies. The two of them have been forming a decent partnership of late, and as much as you guys were talking about having a regular goalkeeper, a regular centre-back pairing has helped. Here's Ryan Kent, shots deflected, and the Rangers will have their first corner of the afternoon. 8 minutes played, Dundee United 0, Rangers 0.
Yeah, it was sharp play from Ryan Kent, turned, drove in the pitch, it opened up really nicely for him, about 20 yards out, central of the goal, and decided to hit a shot on his right foot. We saw what happened last week when he did that in a slightly more difficult angle, but United got the block on, deflected for the first corner of the game.
Borna Barisic comes across to this near side, the Rangers right, to curl it in with the left foot. An in-swinger, you would imagine, to follow from the fullback. Croatian sends it in, it's a deep one. Čolak's at the back post, but he couldn't make it, but it came off a United head. It'll be a corner over on the far side this time. The Rangers left, good delivery from Barisic, but Čolak just couldn't get on the end of it.
Yeah, it was a good header by McMahon. He's got himself positioned just in front of Čolak, and he's got his head to the ball first, and making that first contact in these situations is most important.
Tavernier then to deliver this one, right-footed from the left-hand side. Rangers plenty of bodies in and around the penalty area as Tavernier curls it in, edge of the box, comes off Goldson, and Čolak again just can't make anything of it. Goldson perhaps should have done more with the header from about 8 yards out. And United managed to clear the lines and out for a throw-in on this near side. Rangers take it quickly. A chance there for Goldson, Stephen.
Yeah, it was. I mean, Liam Fox is looking onto the pitch and asking the question why the biggest player on the pitch was left with virtually a free header. It wasn't an easy header, and I think Goldson's probably disappointed he didn't do better with it. He headed it down kind of into this near post, when going back across goal would have been a better option with the bodies that were in there.
Rangers have it. Tavernier back the way to Goldson, who's trotted back to his defensive position. Now it's Davies just coming up to the halfway line, clips that one forward looking for Sakala, who's got a good jump, springs above Behic, but it will fall kindly for Birighitti. Čolak unable to get anywhere near it, and it remains Dundee United 0, Rangers 0. Rangers just beginning to edge the game in terms of attacking, but no real threat to Birighitti's goal as yet. Knocks it long down the right hand side. Harks gets on the end of it. Again, he can't link up with their teammates, and it's behind for a Rangers goal kick, which is quickly taken by John McLaughlin to Davies. Up to the halfway line it goes for Kent, who's barged in the back there by Liam Smith, but the referee allows that to go. Thought that was a free kick.
Looked it.
Yeah, it was a free kick, but at least United are making contact, you know. I mean, I've been here a couple of times particularly against Celtic, but they just haven't laid a glove on Celtic, but at least they're making contact. They've got real intent to challenge and try and win the ball.
Sakala gets it back from Kent, backed away onto the halfway line almost for Davies. Now it's Goldson, who's the last man for Rangers. He takes a little bit of a chance against Stephen Fletcher, but has enough skill to find Tillman, who knocks it forward for Sakala. Sakala knocks it down. There's Čolak on the volley into the arms of a grateful Mark Birighitti, but it's Rangers' best move of the game so far. Sakala down for Čolak, who gets the shot on target. It remains United 0, Rangers 0.
Yeah, it was a lovely clip ball over the top of the United defence. Sakala does really well to header it back down into a dangerous area, and then Čolak, we know how dangerous he is in the opposition 18-yard box, and gets his shot away straight at Birighitti though.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't an easy chance though. I mean,
no, he did well to get it on the end of it.
Tavernier clears before Middleton can make anything of a through ball. John McLaughlin had come off his line to come and get the ball, but Tavernier was taking no chances. Looked like a foul throw there from Behic, but as so often in these circumstances, it doesn't get punished. Here's Middleton back to Behic on the left hand side for Dundee United, midway inside Rangers half. Tavernier comes in with the challenge. It'll be another United throw. 12 minutes played in the city of Discovery. Dundee United 0, Rangers 0. Another foul throw from Behic, and again the game allowed to continue. Edwards looking for Freeman out on the right hand side, kept in by Freeman just inside Rangers half. Across goes Jack to close him down, out for a throw in over on that far side, right in the halfway line. Smith knocks it infield for Sibbald. Back with Smith, who scored in that defeat at Ibrox earlier in the season. Plays it back to Birighitti, who has to clear. First time under pressure from Čolak. Good first touch from Harks. Barisic is there. Harks gets the better of him, but there's Jack to tidy things up for Rangers. Knocks it back to John McLaughlin. Connor Goldson picks up for Rangers. Jack making a forward run. Goldson doesn't use him. Caught at least two minds there, Connor Goldson. And he has to go back the way to his goalkeeper, who then slices the ball out of play under no real pressure, John McLaughlin. And that gives Dundee United a throw-in.
Connor Goldson's shouting there, but he actually had the option of playing the ball over the top, and he has the option of the big switch to the far left-hand side.
Barisic, I think.
Yeah, but he kind of hesitated, and then the pass had gone, and he was under pressure, and he's trying to put blame on the runners, but I think there was a pass on for him.
Here's Edwards, knocking it forward for Fletcher. Sliding in goes Ryan Jack, fully committed, wins the ball. Levitt's there though for United, and now it's Freeman, right hand side, midway inside the Rangers half. Barisic comes out to meet him, and United go back the way once more. Almost a quarter of an hour on the clock as Freeman slides it forward. Still no goals. Barisic in the way. Barisic has it left hand side for Rangers. Down the line it goes to Kent, still well inside his own half. Back with Davies now, just outside the penalty area, clips it up for Čolak. Good first touch from Čolak, allows Tillman to take over, crossing the halfway line now. Rangers moving forward with some purpose. Out to Sakala, right hand side, angle of the box. Can he provide a trick? Can't really get past his man. It's good defending there by Behic. Just didn't fall for the sleight of foot almost from Sakala, and Behic comes away with possession, knocks it down the left hand side. Goldson's there for Rangers, finds Lundstrom. Back comes Sakala onto the halfway line. Again, he's well matched by Behic, holding him off those Sakala. Lundstrom then gets the pass and knocks it down the right channel for Tillman. Out of play from Edwards. Rangers will have the throw in midway inside the United half. 15 minutes gone, no goals to report as yet. Rangers just edging it in terms of territory, but Čolak's shot that Birighitti saved comfortably, really the only threat to United goal so far. McLaughlin with little to do at the other end. Here's Barisic asking a lot there of Kent, who's challenged well by Liam Smith. Out of play on the far side for a Dundee United throw. And United still second bottom of the league, 3 points clear of Ross County. One behind Kilmarnock with this and one other game in hand. As Barisic comes down the left, he's halted in his progress, and it will be another Rangers throw-in about 30 yards from the corner flag over in the far side. Barisic looking for options. One of them is his countryman Čolak. Čolak left hand side of the penalty area, trying to bundle his way past Liam Smith, but Smith does well, and Freeman helps him get his lines clear. And there's Harks now picking up possession under pressure from Lundstrom. Did well initially, Harks. He's still going actually. A couple of Rangers players having a nibble at him, but he's done brilliantly. Harks to find Fletcher, and now out to the left hand side is Behic coming forward. Cross comes Tillman to try and track him. Now Middleton, left hand side for United. Infield it goes to Levitt. Levitt has Jack for company. Back out to the left hand side for Middleton. Middleton, big switch of play to Freeman on the right hand side. Good first touch from the right wing back. Then onto the left foot, swings the ball in. Lundstrom gets his head to it. Fletcher's looking interested, gets turned and gets the shot away, but it's high and wide from Stephen Fletcher. But good play from Dundee United, the most encouraging signs for them so far. Still goalless.
Yeah, and they managed to keep a hold of the ball for a reasonable amount of time, and then ended up with a shot to go, albeit off target. But there's some good play in there, and there was you see when the ball comes in the air into the box of Fletcher, how he can manage to hold off.
Yeah, his strength was brilliant there to hold off Davies and get the turn. He'll be disappointed. The touch was excellent, and the turn, but he'll be disappointed he kind of hooked it over the bar. But the crossfield pass from Middleton was brilliant as well.
Tillman finds Jack just inside the United half, out to the left hand side for Barisic. Freeman just barges him out the way, and it'll be a Rangers free kick out in the far touchline. Just the forearm of Freeman caught Barisic as he tried to move inside, albeit I think the Croatian had shown too much of the ball.
I think he's lucky, Alistair, to get away with that. He'd kind of shown Freeman the ball, and Freeman just got his body in front of Barisic and was almost going to nick possession off him and go in the counter attack, and Barisic goes to the deck. Didn't see an awful lot in it. I don't know about you, Craig.
I thought that Freeman was just a little bit stronger, and Barisic went down too easily.
Stephen McLean, the referee, deciding that will be a free kick to Rangers, and Rangers have thrown Goldson and Davies, among others, up to the edge of the penalty. Swung in by Barisic. Goldson rises, can't get really any purchase on the head of a Stephen Fletcher for company, and it's a comfortable take for Birighitti. 18 minutes on the clock at Tannadice. It's Dundee United 0, Rangers 0.
Yeah, it was a floaty cross, wasn't it? So high and coming in with no pace on it, and by the time Connor Goldson gets a head on it, he's probably a good 16 yards away from goal. Couldn't get any power on it at all, and safely gathered up by Birighitti.
There's Harks getting his head to it, out to the right hand side for Freeman. It's crossed the touchline though on the far side, and it will be a throw in to Rangers. But they already know they're in a game here at Tannadice. You know, United look a completely different side from the one that was meekly giving away goals left, right and centre at the start of the season, not least when they shipped 9 to Celtic here. But as you were saying earlier, Stephen, a couple of clean sheets in their last 2 games, and although I think only Ross County have conceded more at home in the league, that is by and large down to their early season form as opposed to their recent form, which has been a lot better defensively.
You can tell they've been drilled. Looking at the distance between the lines, there isn't much room for Rangers to play in there, and also they're playing with real purpose and determination as well, Dundee United. So yeah, I mean, I think they've put a really good performance so far. And I'll tell you, Fletcher hasn't lost the ball in the air since the start of the match. He's won every header.
He's giving chase here, having won the aerial battle initially, but McLaughlin gets the clearance. Straight down the middle it goes. Edwards meets it though. Lundstrom on the chest inside the centre circle, chased by Craig Sibbald. Out to Barisic on the left touchline. Back with Lundstrom, and now Davies midway inside his own half, and back again to John McLaughlin just outside his own area. Plays it short to Goldson. Now Tillman, who's having to come deep to look for possession. He's been tracked all the way there by Middleton. Back with Goldson, and now square for Davies. 20 minutes played. Goals are to come by so far this afternoon at Tannadice. Not so earlier on at Fir Park, where we had 5. Here's Sakala just outside the penalty area, bursting into the box. He goes, rather barges into Behic, and Behic goes down. It will be a free kick to Dundee United. It looked promising for a moment there from Sakala, but he just lost control of the ball in the end. Behic in the way. Free kick to Dundee United. 20 minutes in. United 0, Rangers 0.
He did well initially to get turned, and I felt as though he should have hit it about 20 yards out. He's quite centrally, it opened up for him, but he goes on a run and tries to go on the outside of Behic, and Behic gets his body in front and then is pushed to the ground by Sakala. But United are pressing Rangers so well in the middle of the park, all over the park. When the ball gets to Rangers player's foot, there's 1, 2, 3 bodies around them. As Craig said, they've been very well drilled.
Forward from Sibbald, plenty of time though for Conor Goldson to bring that under control midway inside his own half and play it square.
The danger, Alistair, in this situation for me is United playing the high line. If one of those players from Rangers midfield makes a well-timed run in behind and isn't matched, then that's the danger. But this is the best way to play against a team who are better than you, is try and squeeze the life out of them.
Yeah,
it's working so far for Dundee United. Almost quarter of the game gone, and Rangers with limited opportunities to score so far. Here's Tavernier for Lundstrom. Lundstrom tried the dummy. Levitt didn't buy it though, and he's robbed Rangers of possession and found Fletcher just inside the Rangers half, just lays it off for Freeman. He goes back the way to Smith, who in turn infield and slightly backwards for Edwards. Now Levitt, who enjoyed his time out in Qatar at the World Cup as part of the Wales squad, despite not getting on to the pitch, described it as a wonderful experience, and no doubt will help make him a better player. Young midfielder. And here's Freeman coming forward, getting on the end of a loose ball out to the right hand side for Harks. Harks with time to try and pick out our teammate in Tangerine. Comes off the back of Barisic, and Rangers able to clear. Kent can't keep a hold of it though. It can't find Cholak either, and United win possession once more. Sibbald back the way for Smith, just inside his own half, right hand side, tries the diagonal, looking to use the pace of Middleton, and he'll do so. He'll keep it in. He gets the first time ball in. There's Fletcher on the volley, well wide of goal in the end, but it was a lovely idea from Stephen Fletcher, but he just couldn't get it on target, and it's still Dundee United 0, Rangers 0.
And there's the benefit of the pace in the front areas. I mean, I thought that ball was Middleton. I thought it was no chance of catching it. So, and he's done really, really well to pull it back, and very clever striker player. You appreciate the space that he got himself.
I thought it was brilliant, the run from him, but the referee's given a corner kick here. I certainly didn't see a deflection once Stephen Fletcher had made contact with the ball. He just hooks it and it goes by. It should be a by kick. The referee's got that one wrong, but brilliant play from Middleton. Fletcher's movement to get across the defender really good. A difficult one to get on target, but I didn't see a deflection, so this probably should not, or definitely in my opinion should not have been a corner kick.
Caught the ball and it spun. It didn't spin and then change direction of the spin, if you know what I mean. It just spun the whole way.
Can Dundee United take advantage of a little bit of good fortune? Corner comes in from the right hand side. Several bodies and heads trying to get on the end of it. None could really do so emphatically, and it comes out of the penalty area. And United pick up once more out to the left hand side. It's good ball forward, edge of the box. Middleton, brilliant ball across goal. McLaughlin gets enough on it, and then Lundstrom completes the clearance. What a ball from Middleton, so inviting. but no Dundee United player able to get on the end of it.
That was just wonderful play from Dundee United. So quick, wasn't it? And accurate. The passing was superb. And that ball in by Middleton, I think Fletcher was really unlucky because there was a deflection. Or did the goalkeeper get a touch on it?
The goalie got a touch on it. I mean,
it was coming right to him, wasn't it? He was in the back post.
There was three
area.
bodies in there. It was brilliant one-touch football from Dundee United, and the ball in so dangerous, and actually good goalkeeping in the end from John McLaughlin.
United have a throw in then over on the far side, but 10 yards from the corner flag, their right flank. But certainly plenty of encouragement in the last 5 minutes. And here's Freeman trying to add to that. Fletcher chests it down away from goal though. Tillman makes the challenge and Rangers pick up possession. Played forward looking for Sakala, but first to it was Scott McMahon who just knocks it out of play. But as I was saying, plenty of encouragement last few minutes for Dundee United.
Yeah, the last 4 or 5 minutes has been excellent from Dundee United. They really have pushed Rangers. A couple of opportunities for Stephen Fletcher, and Rangers, you know, the manager wanted a quick aggressive start. It's not really transpired that way, and it's much to do with the fact that Dundee United aren't allowing Rangers to get into their free-flowing style of football.
Here's Goldson, just over the halfway line he comes. Tillman able to turn, but not a good first touch, and Levitt able to get back at him, and the pass back for Goldson isn't great from Tillman either. Goldson turns back the way and finds his central defensive partner Ben Davies. Now it's Jack just inside his own half, short for Kent, who's come deep to pick up possession, plays it square to Goldson, crossing the halfway line. It's Connor Goldson. 25 minutes played in the first half. Good turn from Tillman. Tillman advancing towards the edge of the penalty area, finds Kent. Kent with a decent first touch. Cholak can't make anything of it, and off his line comes Birigiti. Well, you feel Rangers should have done better there, but it comes to nothing in the end. 25 minutes in, United 0, Rangers 0.
Yeah, it was a really good turn from Tillman. Middleton just getting wrong side of him, gets rolled too easily, and the ball into Kent, and eventually the pass coming out past Cholak. Birigiti under his foot, and Birigiti's out to gather it up. Yeah, Rangers haven't really looked a threat from open play so far. You've had a couple of half sniffs, obviously the shot from Cholak, but really they haven't penetrated Dundee United so far.
Lundstrom bursts over the halfway line away from Sibbald. Jack just keeps the pass in, and then Lundstrom returns it. Now it's Kent out to Jack, left hand side onto the right foot. Poor ball in from Ryan Jack, not his forte perhaps, as Davies wins the header ahead of Fletcher, and Rangers recycle possession just inside the United half. It's Connor Goldson picking up centre circle, looks for options. One of them is James Tavernier on this near side, the Rangers right, about 35 yards from goal. Back the way though for Goldson once more, and then the short ball to Lundstrom, who switches play looking for Barisic. Freeman though backpedals and heads it out of play on the far side. Still goalless at Tannadice. Both these teams well matched so far.
Liam Fox will be delighted, Craig, with the start that they've made in this match.
I mean, at this minute in time, things can change, but his tactics are absolutely spot on. I mean, they're defending with 9 players, leaving Fletcher isolated, defending with 9 players, but they're breaking quickly when they do get opportunities to support. They're also getting back as quickly as they can, and there isn't an awful lot of room for people to be getting frustrated about what Rangers are doing, but there's not an awful lot of room for them to play here.
Here's Tavernier back in field for Goldson, about 10 yards inside the United half. Back to Lundstrom on the halfway line, inside to Jack's. A good spot from Lundstrom, and Jack's got a bit of room to move forward into, out to Barisic. It goes about 15 yards from the corner flag. Good delivery. Birigiti comes off his line, drops it initially, but able to grab it before any Rangers player can make anything of it. Cholak hasn't really been involved in the game, certainly couldn't get on the end of that one.
No, I mean, he doesn't really get involved often in the build-up play. He comes alive in the box. It was a good ball in there from Barisic, but well read from Birigiti, who's out to gather it, albeit at the second attempt.
McMahon plays it forward down the left, but straight out of play, and Rangers will have the throw in midway inside their own half. Back from Tavernier to McLaughlin, who plays it short to Connor Goldson. Now it's Davies for Rangers, who can ill afford to drop more points. Many would argue the title race already isn't a title race, but for those who feel it's still alive, then Rangers must win here. Here's Sakala on the goal line, just stands in the ball, and he had a good opening there. Cholak's asking, why didn't you play it earlier? Rangers will have the corner, but really United shouldn't have had the opportunity to get back and defend that.
That's what you're talking about, Stephen, wasn't it, about Sakala, because he made the run that we spoke about, catching the back line off. Sorry, he was onside, and it's a brilliant run. He's got into absolutely perfect position to supply the ball into the middle for Cholak, and I don't know what he tried to do.
Well, I mean, it's as if his brain's still going too quickly for his body at times.
Rangers corner then, right-hand side. Barisic swings it in, it's a deep one. Goldson looking interested, but Fletcher there winning the header inside his own penalty area, and there's Bergiti to gather. Tries to clear long, quickly looking for Middleton, but he gets his clearance.
Just gifting possession back to Rangers there when really there was nothing on. You'd be better just holding the ball till more players got up the pitch.
Even Middleton was 2v1 in Rangers' favour, even if he had hit the ball out here.
Tavernier looking to release Kent. It was a good run and a good idea from Tavernier, but just a yard too much on the pass, and it goes all the way through to Birighitti. No harm done there as far as United are concerned, as Liam Smith picks up and knocks it down the right-hand side. Barisic out of play off Ryan Jack eventually, more or less on the halfway line. Far side, United right. It will be a throw in, almost half an hour played, and very little to choose between the sides so far. Neither keeper has been overworked, you would have to say. As Smith gives that away to Sakala just outside the centre circle. Now it's Cholak, tries to link with Sakala, but it's a poor attempt at a layoff from Cholak, and United able to clear the danger. It's picked up by Goldson on the halfway line. Now Davies out to Barisic, left-hand side, about 15 yards inside United territory. Kent now hugging the touchline, comes in off the left. Goldson offers himself, but he goes short to Jack instead. Now it's Lundstrom, still about 20 yards inside the United half, goes back the way to Davies, and now it's Goldson just inside the United half, comes forward, he's met by Middleton, plays a short ball to Tillman, who just tries to play it round the corner for Jack, but Ryan Edwards read it and met it with a big hoof up the park, and McLaughlin comes out of his goal and just plays it short to Davies, who does likewise for Goldson. 15 yards inside his own half, looks for the diagonal for Sakala. Sakala wins the jump. Cholak almost in behind. Brilliant clearance there by McMahon, and then the flag goes up on, I think, against Cholak, who had made the run off Sakala.
It looked quite tight, didn't it?
Yeah, it looked very tight to me, but a brilliant bit of defending from McMahon regardless.
Yeah, he did well to get in. Yeah, I think Cholak had just strayed offside. Sakala does well in the air, actually. You know, he's got a good spring and weight.
He has. He's won 2 headers that I didn't expect him to get to.
Gather it was just offside as Birighitti takes the free kick. Again, Fletcher wins the knock-on. United's fans claiming for a handball there. It's going to go out for a throw-in to United, and it's picked up by Harks. Harks driving towards the Rangers penalty area, matched by Lundstrom. It's out to Freeman, right-hand side, swings it in. It's a deep one, and pretty comfortable for McLaughlin to take under no real pressure. Still 0-0.
Yeah, it was a poor choice by Freeman there. I think he needed to recognise there was only Stephen Fletcher in the box and 3 Rangers defenders, so there was no point of putting it in at that point.
Too deep for Fletcher as well, wasn't it? As Goldson has it inside the centre circle, looking for options. One of them out to the left-hand side is Ryan Kent. Barisic is ahead of him, right on the touchline on that left flank. Forward for Kent, who tries to let it go. Felt he was fouled there by Freeman, but Stephen McLean saw nothing wrong with that, and it's drifted harmlessly behind for a United goal kick. And still the stalemate persists.
Yeah, but I agree with Stephen McLean there. I didn't think there was much in that. Kent tried to roll the youngster and just lost his footing. He's been quiet again, has Ryan Kent in the game. Tillman as well, not really having an impact. All the kind of impact players you're looking for Rangers to make an impact in the game, not really at this minute in time shining, although Dundee United making it difficult, very difficult for them.
Yeah, that's the point I was going to make. I think that the doubling up in the wider areas has been very useful for Dundee United, and their willingness to run has been noticeable as well.
United have it at the back. It's Smith out to the right-hand side. Freeman quickly closed down though. It was Jack who won it, and Cholak gets the break of the ball. Now it's Tillman about 35 yards from goal. Quickly closed down though by Sibbald, and here's Levitt to pick up the loose ball. Good backtracking that by Craig Sibbald. And here's Levitt. Levitt plays a slightly dicey but good in the end ball for Edwards, but he's given it away. It's Ryan Jack picking up left-hand side, midway inside the United half. Lundstrom. Tavernier made the run, has to check that, but does get possession, knocks it back to Lundstrom. United are closing down ever so well, making life really difficult for Rangers to pick the passes. Here's Jack, who's drifting out to that left-hand side quite regularly. Back in field for Kent. And now Goulson inside the centre circle. Every United player behind the ball. Tavernier. Infield it goes to Čolak. Čolak to right hand side for Tillman. Back the way for Lundstrom. Lundstrom thought about getting it back to Tillman and then fires it away out to the left hand side, but it's way off target for Barisic. It'll be a throw into Dundee United, and Ryan Jack says we need to try and press them into this area. It's only a few yards away from the corner flag, and Rangers will try and pin United in, but United have coped pretty well with everything Rangers have had to throw at them so far. With 11 minutes to the break, it's still goalless.
Stephen, for me, there's a real sort of need for the two players that are playing just off of Čolak for Rangers to actually do the runs that the two guys are doing for Dundee United, which is just burst their lung to get in behind.
Yeah. Sakala, 25 yards out, finds Lundstrom. Lundstrom onto the right foot. Out to Tavernier, angle of the box, right hand side, tries to clip it into the penalty area. It comes off a United body and it'll spin behind for a Rangers corner kick on the right hand side. As the visiting fans take a bit of encouragement.
Yeah, the frustration for Rangers is when the midfielders get on the ball is a lack of options. You saw the one from Lundstrom where he tries the diagonal and ends getting out the pitch because he's not got a pass on, but you're right. There's a lack of penetration runs in behind from the midfield.
And if they do run in behind, then that allows the Čolak maybe to drop in and link up from there, but a bit static in the front line for me.
Barisic to take the corner, right hand side for Rangers, left footer into the near post. Birigiti comes off the head in the end of Freeman as well. United are able to clear. Kent picks up, goes back the way into the centre circle for Jack. United getting back into their shape, trying to organise. Here's Goulson, plays it square for Lundstrom, 10 yards inside the United half. Forward for Tillman, who for once takes a poor touch, and United pick up, and Levitt finds Fletcher, who immediately sends it down the left hand side for Middleton. Good backtracking by Ryan Kent. Throw in given to Dundee United. 10 yards inside the Rangers half, left hand side.
I'm not so sure about that actually. I thought it might have been a Rangers throw. I thought that Middleton had slipped and he's the last person to touch the ball.
Yeah, I think Michael Beale was making that point because it was just a couple of yards in front of him, but Stephen McLean and his officials deciding it was a United throw-in, which is again taken by Behic in a questionable manner. Lundstrom lobs it forward though, picks up on the loose ball once more. Jack for Tavernier. Uninspiring, I think you have to say, from Rangers thus far. 9 minutes to the break. United been well organised, well disciplined, and posing their own threat from time to time, albeit John McLaughlin hasn't had too much to do. Here's Lundstrom just inside Rangers half, out to the right hand side for Tavernier, who tries to burst forward away from Middleton. Into the box it goes, just a yard or two ahead of Čolak. Levitt picks up on the clearance, and now it's Behic. Fletcher back from Middleton. Behic has continued his run, and Davis is just going to leave that, and Ian Hart's in the end is offside. Davis obviously realising that, but you always wonder when those flags don't go up, there must be a slight fluttering of the heart from the defence. As Kent picks up on the quickly taken free kick. Now it's Jack, left hand side. Barisic picks up midway inside the United half, back the way for Lundstrom. Rangers get plenty of bodies in and around the penalty area. It's into Čolak just outside the box, back for Kent. Kent 30 yards from goal, onto the left foot, trying to find room potentially for the shot. Instead he just plays it to Lundstrom. Lundstrom out to Barisic, crossing opportunity, and it comes for Tillman. Tillman just bounces a little bit too high for the shot, and then he tries the back heel, and it comes to nothing, and the Rangers fans unhappy that he didn't choose a better option there. Rangers have it back. Barisic for Lundstrom, midway inside the United half. Rangers trying to build up a head of steam ahead of the half-time whistle. Still 7.5 minutes away from that. No goals. Lundstrom has it. Plays it short to Tavernier. Out to the right-hand side for Sakala. Sakala up against Middleton, coming up towards the penalty area. Tries to bundle his way past him. It's pretty poor from Sakala. No real ingenuity about that. Just trying to run almost straight at him. And in the end, Middleton just stands up and knocks the ball clear.
Well, they had 3 players around them, but I mean, that's what I said before the match kicked off, that he doesn't really have a trick, a skill to get by a player. He's better when he sees the game in front of him. He can just knock it past somebody and open up.
Yeah, we saw that a couple of times against Celtic, certainly, but United, who have been sitting deeper than Celtic did, for sure. It's much more difficult for Sakala to find the room. He plays a 1-2 there with Tillman. Jack takes over. Sakala picks up once more. Again, he gets it back to Tillman. Fletcher comes back to close him down. Gets the ball to Kent though, and out to Barisic, left-hand side. Up against Freeman, looking to take him on the inside. It's Barisic into the penalty area. Lundstrom, he's got Goldson square of him. Uses him eventually, but slow though from Rangers. Now it's Jack just outside the box, right-hand side. It's Tavernier up against Beich, looking to find room for the cross. Tavernier has to check. Beich sticks with him. Still Tavernier outside the penalty area on the right-hand side. Goes back to Goldson. Now it's Tavernier once more, still on the right of the penalty area. Back with Goldson once more. Rangers still got plenty forwards. Tillman, little flick between his own legs, back out to Tavernier. Rangers desperately searching for a way through this well-organised United defence. Square pass for Kent. Kent takes on the shot, but it's well over the top from Ryan Kent. A little bit of frustration there in the end from Rangers as the gap would not appear in the United backline, and Kent's shot was always rising, and it remains with 5.5 minutes left in the first half. Dundee United 0, Rangers 0.
United are making it so difficult for Rangers. I mean, I'm just watching here and you can see the whole picture, and they're filling the gaps so quickly. There isn't one of the players who's switched off and allowed people to run off them. And actually, even when people are lining up to have shots, they get out in their face as quickly as possible. It's been a real masterclass in defending so far.
Tillman wins the header from the goal kick from Birighitti. There's Fletcher latching onto a forward ball. Goldson comes across to close down any danger, then he just hits the deck under minimal contact, you have to say, from Stephen Fletcher, but it just so often find
it's so frustrating when you're closing a defender down and they just hit the deck, and the referee always buys it.
Well, Goldson's pretty good at that, has to be said, depending on which perspective you're looking at it from, I suppose. It's well won by Levitt, and Rangers could be caught here. It's Harks on the right-hand side, and it's Liam Smith bursting forward, edge of the penalty, tries to curl it past John McLaughlin, and it's just past the post from Smith. What a burst forward that was from right centre-back, playing the 1-2, and just curls it just past the post. Excellent effort from Liam Smith.
Yeah, he won the ball, he played the pass, and he received the return and took a brilliant first touch. It took him in a goal. I don't know if he just panicked a little bit, but it was a decent enough effort.
He's got to hit the target. Yeah, you're 18 yards out from goal. You've no pressure on you whatsoever. You must hit the target there.
Tillman at the other end coming forward. Tavernier inside the penalty area, just blocked off there pretty well in the end by McMahon, and it runs through for Birighitti, and Tavernier might have been well advised just to pull the trigger first time, and it comes to nothing again for Rangers. He had been slightly harsh on Liam Smith there, had made that long bursting run.
No, it was brilliant play. The build-up was brilliant from him. It was really, really good. But when you're 18 yards from goal, with no pressure on you, only the target to hit, you've got to hit it. You put it about a metre past.
Here's Middleton picking up in a decent position. Tillman trying to get back at him. Forward comes Beich on the overlap, uses him as a decoy. Middleton sends it in. It's a poor cross though from Middleton. Easy for McLaughlin to come off his line to take. 3 minutes to the break, still goalless at Tannadice.
I'll tell you, the United supporters will be really happy with this, Alistair. I mean, they've put on a really good defensive showing, but they're also a threat on the counter-attack, and that's the thing that supporters sometimes they don't see the opportunities that Dundee United have created. It's just constant defence, but this has been a pretty good example of how to defend and also create opportunities.
Sakala does well to win it back from Sibbald. Tillman plays it into Jack. Now Kent taking over, 35 yards from goal. Here's Barisic, left-hand side. First time ball in's a terrible attempt at a cross from the Croatian fullback all the way out for a throw-in on this near side, and from a good position, Barisic really fails to deliver.
It's one of the first times in the game United have been caught slightly out of shape, and the ball rolled to Barisic out on that left-hand side. Normally so dependable on his left foot in terms of cross balls and deliveries into the box. Completely overhit it. A terrible cross in the end.
Yeah, and he's so good normally, isn't he? And if you're the manager, these things frustrate the life out of you, because you really want Barisic in that position with that type of pass, because normally he'd find somebody in the penalty box and at least get an attempt at goal.
Sakala gives chase for a through ball from Lundstrom, but he'll do so in vain as it's seen out for a goal kick. And under a couple of minutes now left in this first period. United's performance defensively reminds me a lot of the game I did yesterday Celtic against Kilmarnock. Kilmarnock sort of were so well organised in that first period, Stephen. You probably watched most of it as well, but they didn't have the threat that Dundee United have on the counter-attack.
No, you're absolutely right, but they were away obviously at Celtic Park, slightly different. But yeah, I mean, off the ball, I think out of possession, Dundee United have been absolutely superb. Their discipline, their organisation, as Craig said, has been a masterclass, and they've offered that threat, and I think Stephen Fletcher's been a huge part of that.
Yeah, and he wins yet another aerial battle there as Rangers have a bit of defending to do. Davies gets it clear, Levitt can't pick up on the clearance, Lundstrom does, and he knocks it forward to Sakala, back to Tavernier, quickly closed down, but gets the pass off to Lundstrom, just inside his own half, inside the final minute of the first 45, and I doubt there'll be too much to be added on at the end of it either. No real stoppages in play I can recall. Lundstrom has it. Again, it's pretty laboured from Rangers, but here's Cholak, gets turned on the edge of the box. Now it's Tillman, right hand side. Will he be able to keep it in? He does, but he's quickly closed down by McMahon, and then back goes Betch to help him out, and out for a throw-in. Two Rangers on this near side, down at the corner flag on the right. Perhaps time for a final opportunity in the first period. Sakala with a poor return pass for Tavernier from the throw-in, and it's hoisted out of play by Betch, almost up as far as ourselves in the gantry, which, if you know where the gantry is in the main stand, is some feet almost from Aziz Betch. Rangers go back the way from the throw-in. Lundstrom back for Goldson. 45 minutes have come and gone as Rangers play out to the left-hand side. It's Borna Barisic. 1 minute to be added on. The fourth official shows the board, and we're into that already. Here's Lundstrom inside his own half, forward for Kent, and Tavernier's attempted ball forward, complete miskick from the Rangers captain, out of play for a United throw. And it'll be contrasting team talks, I would imagine, at half time, Craig.
Yeah, I think Michael Beale will be frustrated, and an element of that will be at his own players, because I think they could have passed the ball more accurately. I think they should run in behind more often, but at the same time you've got to give credit to Dundee United and their performance so far.
Sakala again wins the jump, this time ahead of Edwards, who I would imagine is a good 8 inches taller than him. Here's Jack picking up, driving towards the United penalty there, out to Sakala, right hand side. Has he got to offer this time? Swings the ball into the penalty area, but it takes a deflection and it's comfortably into the arms of Mark Birighitti. That is the final action of a rather uneventful first half at Tannadice, you would have to say. Cholak had a shot after 12 minutes that was pretty comfortably saved by Mark Birighitti. At the other end, Stephen Fletcher had a volley, but it was well wide in the end from the former Scotland striker. And then a few minutes before the break, Liam Smith galloped forward, but his shot from just outside the penalty area curled just wide of John McLaughlin's left-hand post. Other than that, not too much to shout about. Half-time at Tannadice. Dundee United 0, Rangers 0.
On digital radio,
FM,
online at BBC Sport Scotland,
your smart speaker,
and BBC Sounds.
This is Sports Sound from BBC Radio Scotland,
where Scottish football lives.
The holders will fancy their chances very much of retaining their trophy.
Kilmarnock, they are heading for Hampden.
The silverware is getting closer.
Rangers make their way into the last four. Game over is the fourth for Aberdeen. Quite a magnificent strike.
But who can go all the way in the Scottish League Cup? Catch the semi-final build-up and action with Sports Sound.
That's surely the goal that seals the deal.
There's live commentary of Celtic versus Kilmarnock Saturday from 5:30, and Rangers versus Aberdeen kicks off next Sunday at 3.
Absolutely outstanding.
The Scottish League Cup semi-finals on BBC Radio Scotland.
It's going to be a big weekend, as you'd anticipate, all live with us here on Sports Sound. Then, of course, well, one of the sides we're watching this afternoon, Rangers, will be thinking all about the potential of domestic cup success this afternoon. It is simply about trying to stay as close as they can, hanging on to the coattails of Celtic. Have we seen, and I appreciate Dundee United have contributed an awful lot to this game, Craig Levine, but have we seen a large reason why this Rangers team is so far behind Celtic in the 45 minutes we've watched so far?
My opinion on why they're so far behind Celtic is that Celtic have got better players. You know, that's just simple as that. I mean, I think Michael Beale's done a good job since he's come in. I mean, they've won every match, I believe. Is that correct?
Well, the draw against Celtic,
yeah,
of course.
Yeah. Other than last week, I just don't think the Dundee United have been able to choose where they place their back line. And as a defender, you like that. You want to be able to decide where your back line is, and you can look at it in relation to where your midfield is and where your strikers are. So they've been allowed to do that. What stretches you and makes you deep in this, players making darting runs in behind. And Rangers haven't done enough of that for me. They've not done enough of it. And sometimes you're not making the run, Richard, to receive the ball. All you're doing is trying to push Dundee United further back towards their own goal so there's space to play in front of them. But they haven't done enough of that. And even in their general play, I think one of the things that would help would be quicker switches of play. If they did that, I think that then they'd maybe get Barisic on the ball down the far side and get Tavernier on the ball down this side. But they haven't done enough of that either. So, I mean, I want to caveat everything by saying that Dundee United are making it extremely difficult for them.
Look, I'll come to United in a moment. I'm just interested because I watched Tomo, I saw Rangers in the flesh up at Pittodrie.
Yeah.
And for a large chunk of that game, I remember saying to someone afterwards that was the weakest Rangers performance I'd seen at Pittodrie probably since the early 80s. And then all of a sudden Aberdeen offered them encouragement. In the last 15 minutes they got a grip in the game and they came back and they won it, and all credit to them for doing just that. And I'm watching this afternoon and I'm just they're miles behind Celtic in terms of their overall play.
They're lacking inspiration this afternoon. There's no doubt about that. They're key players who you would expect to influence the game. They haven't managed to do that. And I know we'll touch on why with Dundee United shortly. For me, there's not enough movement off the ball to offer up options for midfielders, for fullbacks, for centre halves. And because of that, the game has been played in front of the Dundee United back five, and then there's a four midfield who are compact in front of that. And when a Rangers player receives the ball, when it comes into the midfield, there is 2-3 players hounding them. And then when it's shifted, and they've had to do so many sideways passes because of the pressure on the ball. When it's shifted, then the Dundee United players shift over and they're on them immediately. It takes something from a Rangers player, whether that's going to be a Kent or a Sakala, to drive and when they receive the ball, take risks, go and take players on. But it's so difficult to do when there's so little space, and that's what Dundee United have done ever so well. The positional play out of possession has been absolutely phenomenal. It really has. But Rangers very, very uninspiring, and you can hear the supporters round about us frustrated with that first half performance. And don't get me wrong, for large spells in the first half yesterday at Celtic Park, Celtic weren't at it. But when you watch Celtic and you look at their bench, and you know it's going to come, when you're watching Rangers here today, you don't get that same feeling that inevitably they will grind teams down and they will be able to find penetration. For Dundee United, it's been 45 minutes of brilliance, of pure concentration. The key now is, and this is what Liam Fox will be reiterating to the players in the changing room, is to make sure that they replicate that in the second half, and to be able to do it for 90 minutes is very difficult against a team who do have better players than you. So it'll be interesting to see if there's a response from Rangers in the second half, because that first half performance was really, really poor.
But Craig, where we're sitting in the gantry here at Tannadice, so we're high above the dugouts, if you like, in the main stand. And I always think it's one of the, other than the fact you have to look around pillars occasionally, but it's one of the better viewing areas or platforms in Scottish football, because you can see the whole of the pitch out in front of you. And I can see exactly what you guys are talking about in terms of Dundee United and how they are setting out and the spaces they are closing down and how they're moving as a unit across the pitch. I mean, it's a real art and a knack in itself, isn't it?
It is, and one of the things that you need, Richard, in this particular situation is energy. And because you have to constantly try to fill gaps, and that means shifting all the time. Your concentration, as a football player, one of the things that takes away a lot of your energy is the concentrating. Seriously, you get tired when you, as a defender, when you're 100% playing against really, really good players. You're absolutely exhausted at the end of the game because you have to concentrate so much, and they have done a brilliant job. But I look around their team, and other than Stephen Fletcher, Hark's athlete, can run all day long. Middleton's exactly the same. Sybil's the same. Freeman's a young lad. Behic has got good energy. Yes. I mean, And Smith is a fairly young lad, got energy, so is McMahon, and they've played that way. They've played with great energy, and when they've managed to steal the ball, they've hit Fletcher, and they've got players close to him, and that has resulted in one or two. In fact, I think United might have had more opportunities.
Yeah, better chances. Yes,
yeah,
definitely. Yeah. Look, let's just reflect, shall we? Already we brought you that win for Hibernian against Motherwell. 3-2 it was at Fir Park. It's been 0-0 after the opening 45 minutes here, but there were 4 matches yesterday. We've alluded to 1 or 2 of them over the course of the programme so far, but of course all 4 were covered live here on Sportsound.
Football from Sportsound on BBC Radio Scotland.
Celtic versus Kilmarnock.
Bernabei releases Maida, left side, cuts it back low, Jota's there, touches it into the back of the net. That one is given, and he wheels away in celebration up to the top right corner flag. There's 2 ahead of him, the overlap coming from Hatate. That's the one he uses, Moy. Hatate right side, drills it across low, Kyogo's tapped, and Celtic have a second.
Yeah, I thought second half we were really good. We took control of the game. Played in their half and also looked a lot more threatening. Scored a great goal, but also, to be fair, probably should have had 2 or 3 more.
Plenty of encouragement for my team, to be honest. I thought we did a lot right out of possession, which I'm happy with. We did a lot right in possession. Still think we can do slightly better on that side of it. There's enough to give us a bit of encouragement ahead of next week.
Aberdeen versus St Johnstone.
Oh, it's just right down the middle. Oh, it's in! It's an Aberdeen goal and it's Duke again. Unbelievably bad defending. Second goal for Dons. It's Duke. You can hear in the background. He gets a header this time to give Aberdeen the second, and surely their first win in 6.
We were unlucky with 1 or 2 opportunities. Obviously the free kick was disappointing when that gets ruled out for offside, but in fairness to the players, they kept trying, they kept passing, kept controlling the game, and finally got the rewards in the second half.
We stood up to them well. I thought we got a couple of warnings of some straight balls. We didn't deal with well enough, and then second half I thought we got better and better. I'm feeling quite comfortable, and then the goalie kicks 1 long ball and we're 1-0 down. That basically sums it up.
Ross County versus Livingston.
Chance, goal! Livingston! Good play down the right there from Kelly. He's played a brilliant giving goal. They've cut it back, and I'm pretty sure, well, I'm not pretty sure, but I think it's Bruce Anderson that's knocked it in. 2-0! That could be it there. It was just a ball at the park. Bruce Anderson, great take, and then he just knocked it past Iacovetti and then smashed it at the bottom corner. Livingston are now 2 goals up.
I think I could say that between a lot of teams in our division. I think there's very little between a lot of us who slips up and who has a little bit of quality and just takes that chance. And today, they did and we didn't.
If I was to summarise the game, it was probably we took our chances and Ross County never. I don't think there was a lot between the 2 teams.
St Mirren versus Hearts.
Goal! It's taken a deflection, I don't know who off, but it's a goal for St Mirren. Goal! Hearts have equalised against the run of play. It's got to be said, but it's a brilliant ball in from Robert Snodgrass. It's one of them, but he's just trying to put it into an area. St Mirren 1, Hearts 1.
They've scored from a cross and they'd 1 chance, 1 header. For a team with that kind of calibre and that kind of money spent to contain them that well and hit them on the break that many times, and we're a little bit frustrated we didn't take all 3 points.
We are disappointed not to take the 3 points, because I think certainly second half we created a number of opportunities, but it's a difficult place to come, so sometimes you just have to take a point up the road.
There you go, the action from yesterday, the draw, rounding off things there at Paisley between St Mirren and Hearts, and those 2-0 wins for Livingston, for Celtic and for Aberdeen. I know you looked at all the matches yesterday, Tomo.
Yep.
Aberdeen, big game, big win for them and for your pal Jim Goodwin.
Yeah, it was. I mean, Goody's very good at kind of keeping a level head when things aren't going well, and I thought he dealt with that really sticky spell incredibly well. It was a huge match yesterday for him, for Aberdeen to get back on track. Their home record's been excellent this season. It's on the road they found most of their troubles, but for me they had to win yesterday, and I thought it was a good performance under pressure. The players were under pressure, big crowd in at Pittodrie, and I thought they stood up to that pressure with a deserved win, a solid performance, and of course Duke making all the difference. It really does look a fantastic signing, and already pretty much a cult hero at Aberdeen Football Club. And hopefully for Jim and for Aberdeen, this can be a catalyst for them to find a wee run of form. However, their fixtures coming up are quite difficult ones away to Hibs and Hearts, and they've obviously got the semi-final, and they've got Darvel in there as well. So lots of away games coming up, so they have to try and find a way of winning away from home. But to stop the rot and get that win, the first win kind of post-World Cup, if you like, was huge for Jim and for Aberdeen.
So they got the win. Celtic, we've touched on that already. They got the win. They had eventually to break Kilmarnock down. They did so with goals just before and just after half-time. Jota and the own goal from Ash Taylor. Livingston, just a brilliant afternoon, Craig, for Davy Martindale and his team. And Bruce Anderson, their top scorer last season, again someone who doesn't get a look in, week out, but when he's called up, it seems to me he more often than not comes up with the goods.
You know, he very much reminds me of Kevin Nisbet at Hibs. Always been a good goal scorer, but it's not until he's got into his sort of mid-20s that he's actually got himself to a position where he's strong enough, and I think he understands the game well enough, especially the physical side of it, to make a difference to somebody. Because he's always been a goal scorer. You'll know that, don't you, from your time at Aberdeen. So he's always scored goals, but I just think he's always been a bit weak. And, you know, and I felt that Nisbet was exactly the same. But till he's got to a certain age, he then starts to, he can still score goals, but then starts to be able to physically handle himself. And I think the two of them are quite similar, and I can see him kicking on because he's got good pace. He's a really, really good finisher.
Both his goals yesterday were excellent.
Oh, unbelievably good.
Yeah. I mean, really instinctive. Just showed a natural talent for the art of finishing.
It has the brain, you know, and he's got the touch, and he's got all the skills necessary to do it. What he didn't have, for me, was maturity. And all I think has happened is that they've both flitted about here, there, and everywhere, but they've got themselves into a position where they're playing every single week. One at Hibs. Yeah, and you know, at Livingston, I think Anderson's a really good footballer. I think he's a really good striker, and I think he's one that will keep improving.
Be interesting to see if he gets more of an opportunity in the second half this season. Another game 1-1, Hearts St keeping up. It's 5 draws in 6 matches now. I think it's unbeaten in 6, isn't it, Tom? But 5 of them have been draws. But the bottom line is they're maintaining the unbeaten record, and the record in Paisley is phenomenal.
10 games unbeaten in Paisley. I can't remember a time when that's happened previously. It's absolutely phenomenal. They've got a really tight unit, St Mirren. They make things difficult for opponents. They've got real physicality in their team, and the disappointment yesterday was that they didn't take a couple of more of the chances that they created, especially in the first half. The one at the back post with Alex Grieve stands out for me. He had a couple of opportunities that Alex Grieve, but you know, it's to get a point against a team who are third in the league, even if it is at home, still a decent result. And they did a lot to kind of negate Hearts yesterday. They obviously play them next Friday evening at Tynecastle, which I think might be a different test for St Mirren at Tynecastle, obviously.
Yeah, looking forward to that one. St Mirren in the top 6, Hearts, and now that they're starting to get some players back, then more injuries hit them, of course. Halkin and Gordon both suffering of late. We are going to see Alfredo Morelos in the second half, because I notice he is lurking down in the technical area. Presumably coming on, coming on for Antonio Cholak for the second 45. Remember, coverage as ever online, bbc.co.uk/sportscotland, always updating you on what is happening in Scottish football. Sports Scene highlights 7:15 on the BBC Scotland channel. Goalless here at Tannadice. That change for Rangers. Back to Craig Levine, Stephen Thompson and Al Lamont.
Thanks again, Rich. Morelos on for Cholak for the second period. United unchanged after a pretty impressive first half performance from them. It'll be Rangers to get us back underway in the shape of Ryan Kent, who rolls it back. Rangers right to left in this second half. Michael Beale, you would imagine, and the Rangers supporters have made the trip to Tannadice looking for more, looking for better from their side. I guess United and their fans would take more of the same as Tavernier combines with Morelos, and now it's Tillman over in the right channel. 1-2 with Lundstrom. What would you have been saying, Craig Levine, if you were Michael Beale in that dressing room at half-time?
Just to play the ball quicker than to run in behind. Basically the things that I spoke about at the end of the first half, and to do things with a little bit more purpose. I just think they've been a little bit weak, Rangers, in the first half.
Throwing 2 Rangers over on the far side. Knocked out of play once more, and Tavernier will take this one back the way to Goldson. Lundstrom in field for Davies. And now Ryan Jack again popping up almost in a left back position. Barisic now for Kent. Again roving around the field looking to pick up pockets of space, and then comes forward as Goldson has possession on the halfway line. Back in field for Ben Davies, and out to the left again it's Jack. Jack closed down by Harks into the feet of Morelos. Morelos tries to find Kent, just a bit much on the pass for Kent, and it's out for a throw into Dundee United, which will be taken by Liam Smith, who came as close as anyone in that first half to scoring, certainly for Dundee United. Just off target with the effort towards the end of the first half.
Alistair, did they often, or have they ever played Čolak and Morelos together?
For a few minutes, I think, at a time. I can't recall them starting together, although Michael Beale, when he came in, did say that he'd be keen to play two up front at times, and I think spoke also in his pre-match news conference for this game about the possibility of Čolak and Morelos combining as a strike force, if you like, with Ryan Kent in behind, but clearly it's not going to happen this afternoon. Almost into the evening now, as Davies picks up possession midway inside his own half. Do you think that's a pairing that could work though, Craig? Having seen them both play independently of each other? Yeah,
I'm always, when I talk about stuff like this, I'm always assuming they're both going to play at their best, and I think there could be a good partnership. You know, I think that the penalty box player Morelos has got a lot about his game that I really admire, but I mean, a bit like Kent, he's been off the boil for a little while. But it would be interesting to see it, and I'll tell you what, see from the back line at Dundee United, I don't want to see those two up against me, that's for sure, because they're both a handful on occasions.
Yeah, Čolak clearly not 100% fit as yet, and lasting only the first 45. I think from what Michael Beale was saying, that Alfredo Morelos isn't 100% fit. Here's Sakala at the edge of the box, can't bring it under control. But Morelos is on for the second 45. Michael Beale indicating that he's been almost playing through injury of late, when he's been the only striking option almost. Here's Ryan Kent, left channel out to Barisic, about 15 yards from the goal line, up against Freeman, back the way to Jack. 3.5 minutes played in the second period. It's Lundstrom picking up in a central area. Now Tavernier also central, about 35-40 yards from goal still. Again, Dundee United looking in a good shape, really well organised, no real spaces in between. As Barisic picks up left hand side, swings the ball in, that's an inviting delivery. Here's Sakala, oh, some save from Birighitti. Morelos is claiming he was fouled as the ball was coming in. He's still claiming, but Sakala getting the end of it. Birighitti, it might have been straight at him, but nonetheless he had to show good reflexes to push it away as Rangers tried to come again. VAR, of course, will look at any potential incident in the penalty area, which Morelos was claiming for. But for the moment, no penalty given, certainly. And Birighitti with a good save. Still Rangers in possession. It's Kent towards the angle of the box on the left-hand side. Barisic this time with a low ball in. It's easily cut out by Liam Smith, and he'll just knock it clear. One for Fletcher to chase, but Davies there well ahead of him.
Sakala should score. He really should. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a fantastic save from Birighitti, but he's only 3-4 yards out when he makes contact with the ball. That should be in the back of the net.
Here come Rangers again, a bit more purpose about them at the start of the second half. Tavernier in from the right hand side, Edwards away with the clearing header. Dundee United pick up possession. It's a good ball forward for Harks, and they've got 2-on-2 almost here as they come forward. Harks looking to find Stephen Fletcher. Looked like a handball as he brought it under control. He volleys goalwards straight at John McLaughlin. I wonder if that might have been chopped off and it ended up in the back of the net, because it looked like he brought it down with the arm, although maybe it was high enough up the arm. It would not have been penalised.
On the top of his shoulder and his chest almost.
As it is, it's immaterial. John McLaughlin saving the effort, but it's end-to-end, because here's Barisic put another one into the box, and still we haven't had a break in play, which would allow VAR to indicate to Stephen McLean whether there was anything in that Morelos claim. I don't know if either of you saw anything as the ball was flashed across goal.
I certainly didn't see anything. What I've seen is Barisic has put 3 times as many crosses in the box,
good ones,
in this first 5 or 10 minutes than he did in the whole of the first half.
Yeah. Lundstrom plays out to the left-hand side for Barisic. Back in field to Lundstrom. Goldson has it on the halfway line. Knocks it forward to Morelos. Now Tillman, Lundstrom, Jack. Just outside the penalty, goes for goal again. It's straight at Birighitti, and a comfortable stop for the Australian.
It's already miles better from Rangers.
Yeah, I'm just going to say the kick up the backside was applied at half time, I think.
I would have thought so. The tempo of their play is going up,
So
more
much
bodies
better.
forward, look far more threatening.
It always strikes me as curious though, because Michael Beale said pre-match he wants a fast start, he wants pressure from the off, so he must have indicated that to his players. I mean, it kind of almost goes without saying anyway, but first half they were miles off, and it takes a kick up the backside at half time for the players to almost burst into action. Anyway, here they are coming forward once more. I think we can safely assume nothing is coming of that claim. No, I think the ball's still not been out of play, to be fair, but I'd imagine there would have been a stoppage if it was going to happen. Here's Kent trying to curl it goalwards, but he's wide of goal on that occasion from just outside the penalty area. But as Stephen's saying, Rangers have been upping the ante at the start of this second half, Craig.
Well, there's a marked difference, isn't there?
Huge.
I mean, in everything that they've done since they started the second half, and even those situations there just before that, Kent made his first dart and run in behind. He was tracked, but allowed him to check and then get the ball to his feet, and then he did something he hadn't done at all, which is shift the ball inside and had a shot at goal.
So three shots in goal in the space of 5 minutes already.
And you can tell that this is the manager recognising that there's a lethargy in the team in the first half, and he's fixed it.
Goal kick then to Dundee United, which Birighitti takes. It's brought under control on the halfway line by Tillman. Just gets a wee nudge in the back there from Levitt, enough to put him off. Rangers have it back though. 8 minutes of the second half gone, still goalless. Rangers looking more dangerous at the start of this second period, albeit Stephen Fletcher also has had a shot on target that was held by John McLaughlin. More goalmouth action certainly in the first few minutes of the second half than there was in the entirety of the first half, as Morelos tries to flick it to Lundstrom. Wasn't perfectly executed, but Lundstrom made something of it and at least kept possession for Rangers. Here he is once more, the midfielder who Michael Beale, I read, was talking about wanting to tie him down to an extended contract given his importance to the Rangers team. He's got a year and a bit left, but they don't want to end up in a situation that they have with Morelos and Kent. Lundstrom, here's Sakala into the penalty area. What a finish from Fashion Sakala. It's absolutely brilliant from Sakala. That is what he's capable of. He's been almost anonymous in the game, but out of nothing, left foot and he flashes it past Birighitti. It's Dundee United there, Rangers 1.
Well, Dundee United did ever so well in the first half. Their concentration, their discipline, but they switched off. They tracked the run of Sakala in behind. It's a brilliant run, and the touch and finish were absolutely emphatic.
Yeah, did you see the wee shoulder from Ryan Jack? Just a wee nudge to set the ball up for him. I thought he just deflected rather than chest it. He just hit the ball with his shoulder. But well, it was a brilliant move. It was a brilliant goal as well. It was a tight angle, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
A really tight angle. He's managed to get plenty of power behind it. That was a really good move and a good goal.
The thing about that, Stephen, is it was instinctive from Sakala, isn't it? And that's where he's at his best.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, you're right. Yeah, he had no time to think about it. He kind of sat up very nicely for him on his left foot for the volley, and he dipped it over Birighitti. And, you know, the Rangers have really come out the traps at the start of this second half. 3 or 4 attempts on goal, and then they've now got their goal. Let's see how Dundee United respond.
4th goal of the season for Fashion Sakala. He had a big say in the Old Firm derby last weekend. The assist for Ryan Kent's goal and winning the penalty that helped put them 2-1 up. And he's opened the scoring here at Tannadice. What a finish it was. You'll catch that in the highlights tonight, 7:15 BBC Scotland. Here come Rangers again. Morelos has picked up. Oh, he just showed far too much of that to Ryan Edwards. He had Tillman out to his right hand side. That's poor from Morelos.
Really poor there. The 2v2. All he had to do was slip Tillman in. He takes the heaviest touch. Doesn't look sharp since he's come on at half time. 3 or 4 loose passes, 3 or 4 loose touches.
But Dundee United have been looser as well, and that's given away to Ryan Jack, who's able to come forward, plays in Tavernier into the penalty area. Is he going to be able to go from goal himself? Sakala picks up and he can't convert. Birighitti saves. Tillman! 2-0 Rangers! And all of a sudden Rangers are on song, and it's Malik Tillman who fires in from 12 yards out after Birighitti had denied Sakala a second. Tillman fires in. It's Dundee United 0, Rangers 2.
James Tavernier busted into the box. We didn't see it in the whole of the first half. He goes into the box untouched, lays it off to Sakala, who really probably should score himself. It's a decent save from Birighitti. It's deflected back out to Tillman, and actually he didn't have a lot of options because there was
a lot of people
very busy in front of him. He does well to pick this near corner, puts it into the back of the net, and it's a long way back for Dundee United now.
Yeah, and you asked the question in the first half how much of it was down to Dundee United, how much of the Rangers' inability to score goals was down to Dundee United, and you have to accept there was a lot of it, but also a lot of it was down to Rangers, because they were doing everything at such a low pace that it never really managed to stretch Dundee United. And the difference since the start of the second half has been absolutely incredible. It really has. All credit to the manager, or maybe you should have said he did this before the match and they would have.
Yeah, kick out the backside before the game, regardless of what we've done. Rangers 2 goals to the goods, all of a sudden having been pretty average in the first period. They have come to life, and goals from Sakala and Tillman. It's 6th of the season for Malik Tillman, and as Stephen says, it does appear to be a long way back for Dundee United from here. They just have to settle themselves, edge back into the game and get the next goal. That would be imperative, you'd imagine. But the Rangers fans a lot happier with what they've seen at the start of this second period. Hearing some of the murmurings at half-time, they weren't happy, but they are rejoicing now as they aim to reduce the gap at the top back to 9 points on leaders and champions Celtic. It's League Cup semi-finals next weekend for Rangers, up against Aberdeen on the Sunday. Killie Celtic on Saturday. We'll have both of those matches, of course, live for you here on Sportsound on BBC Radio Scotland, as Edwards picks up possession at the edge of his own penalty area and tries to clear, helped on by Sibbald. 14 minutes of the second half played. United trail by 2 goals, both conceded in quick-fire fashion at the start of this second half. And there is an urgency and a buoyancy about the visitors now that just wasn't remotely visible in the first half.
Have Dundee United changed to 4-4-2 maybe? I'm just looking at the position in the middle, and he seems to have gone upside.
Yeah, he's definitely high up.
There's Levitt. He finds Middleton on the right-hand side, picks up good control into the penalty area. He comes, squeezes it through. Freeman just couldn't take it in his stride. Barisic is there to tidy up for Rangers. Luckily for Rangers, because it was a great ball from Middleton. Freeman had made a good run, but just get the ball stuck under his feet and he couldn't get the shot away, and Rangers survived that scare and pick up possession on the halfway line. That's Jack for Kent. Left-hand side, midway inside the United half now, running at the United back line, out to Tavernier, plenty of space, 25 yards from goal, takes the shot on, it comes off McMahon, I think it was, and behind for a Dundee United, a Rangers corner over on that far side. The Rangers right, quarter of an hour gone, an hour all told. Dundee United 0, Rangers 2.
Yeah, I don't think it was actually a shot, I think he was trying to pick out Fashion Sakala, who made a run into the central position round about the penalty spot, but deflected for a corner nonetheless. Yeah, I think, Craig, you're right. I think they have gone to a 4-4-2.
And almost with a chance there at the other end, Craig.
Yeah, and that's the response. I mean, you set out to play a certain way, and Rangers have come out in the second half and have just blown your game plan out the water. Yeah. So, I think at that stage you have to make a decision whether you just try to hang on. But at 2-0 at home, you can't do that. You've got to have a go. You've got to really have a go and try and get back into the match. You could lose heavily, but that's the chance you take.
Barisic in, Birighitti away as far as Lundstrom, edge of the penalty, back into the keeper's arms from Lundstrom, 8 yards from goal. Birighitti was when he gathered that one in. on target, but comfortable enough take for the Australian keeper, who bowls it out over arm. And as BH picks up, and back to Levitt. Infield it goes to Edwards, midway inside his own half. Parks back to Levitt, still inside his own half, closed down by Sakala. Sibbald back to Edwards, and out to the left hand side for McMahon, who plays it forward for BH on the halfway line. Back it goes to McMahon, and infield to Edwards. Dundee United searching for a way back into the game. Sibbald, but Rangers closing United down now inside their own territory. Levitt tracked all the way by Lundstrom, but it's a good, clever pass into McMahon. McMahon comes forward and finds Smith. Smith pass forward for Harks. He's tracked by Jack and Tillman. Jack got a toe in, and Rangers have it back, and it's Lundstrom for Jack, and Lundstrom once more inside the centre circle as Rangers try to mount an attack. And clearly you would imagine a third goal might put the game beyond Dundee United. Here's Morelos looking to get turned, almost finds Jack inside the penalty. It's cleared away as far as the second goal scorer Tillman, and now it's Kent. Drops the shoulder, tries to play in Barisic. It wasn't a great pass, and Smith able to clear out for a throw-in on this near side to Dundee United, to Rangers. It's Dundee United nil, Rangers 2.
There's an element of chaos, isn't there, at the moment? You know, I think both teams have just, with the result of the 2 goals to Rangers, United have changed, and they're trying to get themselves back in the match. But the very fact they're trying to do it, they've changed the system. There's spaces now where there weren't spaces before.
Absolutely.
Barisic with the throw in about 20 yards from the corner flag on Rangers' left flank. Takes it to Tillman and gets it back. Now it's Kent, still left hand side, looking for Morelos. He can't hold it in. Sibbald tries to release Fletcher. Fletcher claims there was a handball in there from a Rangers player. The referee didn't see it, and Rangers come forward. It's Goldson for Tavernier, and now Sakala, who opened the scoring, and he goes for a goal again. It might break for Tavernier inside the penalty. He can't get the shot away, or at least it was blocked by Edwards, the United captain, denying his Rangers counterpart. 18 minutes of the second half gone. Rangers in charge, leading by 2-0, both coming in the second half. Sakala and Tillman, and here's Kent at the edge of the box, right hand side, step over, away from Sibbald. Goal attempt from Ryan Kent, but again it's an easy take for Birighitti.
But he's working the goalkeeper again. You know, Birigitti's probably made 4 or 5 saves in this second half. We're only, 20 minutes into it, and yeah, I mean, the difference in tempo, the difference in risk that Rangers players are taking is just incredible from the first half.
The first half was interesting, for different reasons.
That was.
And this is really interesting. See where this goes now.
Tillman picks up for Rangers. Spreads play out to the left-hand side for Barisic. Up to the halfway line for Kent. Plays the 1-2 with the Croatian. Tillman still in support. And he's quickly challenged by Smith. Knocks it out of play. Took a bit of Tillman as well. And quick words from Michael Beale for Barisic as he prepares to take this throw in on the halfway line just outside his manager's technical area. Barisic looking for options on this left-hand side. Kent and Freeman tangling as they await the throw-in being taken. Barisic picks back up after Jack knocks it back to him. Smith knocks it forward. Middleton for Dundee United. Levitt out to the left-hand side for BH. BH piling forward, left-hand side. It's a deep cross, looking for Fletcher. Fletcher, did he get a little nudge there from Ryan Jack as he challenged for that ball? Looked like he might have certainly misjudged the header in any case, and then Kent's foul by Liam Smith.
I think he did get a nudge by Ryan Jack.
It looked it.
And I think Jack's clever enough just not to make it obvious. He just leant into him ever so slightly, but taking him underneath the ball.
Well, remember there are plenty of cameras around, but play has resumed, so clearly any check is quickly over. But Stephen Fletcher certainly felt he was nudged, and that was my instinct as well, that he just took a bit of a touch from Ryan Jack as he leapt to try and head that goalwards. Here's Tillman for Rangers, winning his side. A corner kick on the right-hand side, almost at the midway point of this second period, as United prepare to bring on Arnaud Djoum. their first change of the game. It's not an overly attacking one, you'd have to say. Craig, what would the thinking be behind that one?
Well, he can do a bit of both, actually, Arno. He can create and score goals. He's a bit of an all-rounder. So I mean, I think that's really fascinating. The Rangers manager says at the start of the game about how he, intended to start the game really quickly, and it just didn't happen at all, did it? Yeah, he's had to reiterate at half-time to get this reaction.
Here's Barisic with the corner, right-hand side. Goldson attacking, but it's won by Hart. Comes out to Tavernier. Goldson keeps that from going behind, but he was miles offside, and it will be a free kick to Dundee United, more or less on the goal line. But the change will take place beforehand, and it's Craig Sibbald who will be replaced. Arno Zoom will just take his place in the centre of the park. Craig Sibbald, played through illness last weekend at St Johnstone and managed about the same amount of the game. He's been replaced here by Arno Zoom as Dundee United search for a way back into the game. Stephen, how do they go about doing that?
Well, it's very difficult just now because of the pressure that Rangers are putting them under, but you'd like to think that at occasion, with two strikers up the pitch, they'll manage to get counter-attacks. They've just got to make the most of those opportunities when they come their way. But the next goal, as you've rightly said, is absolutely vital. If Dundee United get it, it's game on. If Rangers get it, it's game over.
Freeman forward down the right-hand side for United, picked up though by Barisic, just inside his own half. Checks back the way and plays it to Davies. Now back with McLaughlin, who quickly plays it to Lundstrom, who's always looking to come back and pick up possession and start the next Rangers attack. Plays that out to Jack on the halfway line, left of centre. Jack checks back as well, and it's with Davies. We are at that three-quarter point in the game. Rangers leading by 2-0. Tavernier on the halfway line out on the right-hand side. Now back with Goldson. Rangers don't need to do everything as quickly now, but nor do they want to let the tempo drop so much that they allow Dundee United back into the game, Craig.
Yeah, United are definitely still in this match. There's enough for them.
Here's Tavernier. Poor looking cross, although Barisic he won't be able to keep that one in behind for a goal kick.
And they're still playing with intensity, Alistair. That for me is the thing, that there's still they're still making contact when they're challenging, and they're still competing. And it's not beyond the realms of possibility that they create another couple of chances. So, and I think your point, Tom, about whoever scores the next goal is probably really relevant, because if United do get back in it, this place will really, certainly Dundee United supporters will be up on their feet and right behind their team and pushing to get the second goal.
Birighitti clears from the goal kick. Tavernier returns it into the United half. Sakala will give chase. Up against McMahon. He knocks it forward over the halfway line. Fletcher was offside. And the assistant flagging. Goldson knocks it back to John McLaughlin. I don't think any of the players heard the whistle, but eventually they do, and the free kick is taken quickly, and then Stephen McLean wants it taken again from the correct spot, which it is, and Lundstrom picks up possession. 20 minutes remaining at Tannadice. Dundee United 0, Rangers 2 in this final game of the Premiership this weekend.
When you think about the games that Michael Beale's had, and you look back to the Hibs game when Rangers didn't start the game well, but they came back and showed the character to win the game. Then at Aberdeen, a similar thing happened, and today, first half, a poor performance by their standards, and they've shown again a different side to them to come back and come into the game. Even at Celtic, when they lost the early goal at Ibrox last weekend, the character that this Rangers team are showing is different. It's a different side to Rangers than we've seen this season under Giovanni Van Bronckhorst, and that's what Michael Beale has brought.
Rangers preparing a change in the shape of Scott Arfield as United give the ball away to Lundstrom in a little nutmeg on Levitt. Releases Kent, who in turn plays in Sakala, edge of the penalty area, takes the shot on just off target from Fashion Sakala. Dundee United 0, Rangers 2.
It was a good opening again. I mean, they're starting to exploit and find more and more space. Rangers, as Dundee United try and get back into this game. Sakala took a decent first touch. It's an angle probably 16 yards, and he's going to come off now, but he gets his goal and follows it up from last weekend's performance. I mean, he wasn't brilliant this afternoon, but it'll do his confidence the world of good to get that goal, and it was a really nice finish.
Yeah, that's his last action of the game. Fashion Sakala to fire just off target, and a big grin, as there so often is, all over his face as he's congratulated by his manager Michael Beale and on comes Scott Arfield for the closing. Just under 20 minutes of the game here at Tannadice. Rangers with a 2-goal advantage. Liam Smith picks up for United, midway inside his own half, tries to move away from Morelos before knocking the ball forward. It comes off the outside of his right boot though and spins out of play, and it will be a Rangers throw-in midway inside their own territory. Maybe a slight change of shape for Rangers with the introduction of Arfield for Sakala, as Barisic lofts it forwards. Edwards rises unchallenged, heads it forward. Freeman helps on Goldson with time to chest it down and play it back to John McLaughlin, who hasn't had an awful lot to do, if truth be told, well, throughout the game, but certainly in the second half. He had to look lively to hold a Stephen Fletcher volley, but other than that, no real saves of any great note to make as he hoists the ball forward once more. Morelos battling away there with McMahon. Morelos has stayed down. McMahon, it's Tillman, I beg your pardon, who has gone down, and play will be halted there. I'm not sure there was all that much in the contact there, but certainly Tillman slow to get to his feet.
Yeah, I think he would have got up anyway if the game had played on. I don't think there was an awful lot wrong with him.
I'm not sure if Stephen McLean perhaps thought it was a more serious head knock. I think it was a bang to the face, but not all that much in it for my money. But back on his feet and play has resumed, and Mark Birighitti has the ball in his arms with about 18 minutes to play at Tannadice, plus any stoppage time. Rangers in control just at the moment, 2-goal advantage thanks to Sakala and Tillman at the start of the second half. That's a slightly dodgy pass back, if that's what it was, from Connor Goldson, and he's bailed out by John McLaughlin.
It was as if he was about to hook it clear and then changed his mind at the last second to pass it back to McLaughlin, and kind of caught in between the two, but McLaughlin out quickly to kind of save his blushes.
Throw in Dundee United just down in front of us on the halfway line, right hand side. Smith plays it forward off Barisic, and it'll be another United throw in.
I think it might be worthwhile United making an attacking substitution as
Tony
well.
Watt.
Yeah, I thought that might be in the right time.
I'd be amazed if he doesn't come on soon. You get Niskin in there as well, who obviously has got an attacking threat.
Here's McMahon, about 10 yards or so inside his own half. Behich now back in field for June. And Edwards still inside his own half. Fires it out to this near side to Freeman. We're going to get a double change actually from United. There's Watt and young Rory McLeod prepared to come on. So it is attacking changes. Glenn Middleton will depart, booed by some of the Rangers fans, slightly harshly perhaps. And Stephen Fletcher also coming off. Is that a surprise to Craig? He has been influential.
I would have left Stephen Fletcher.
Yeah, me too. He's had a good game as Stephen Fletcher. He's put a lot of work in. I know he's not as young these days, but he was certainly an influential player for Dundee United. He gave them a focal point. I'd like to see him go up front with Stephen Fletcher.
The young lad, I think he's only 16.
He is only 16, Rory McLeod, on for his third appearance of the season. He and Tony Watt effectively through the middle for Dundee United. Here is McLeod doing well to hold off Davies, and he brings Behich into play. Behich advances down the left hand side. McMahon in support outside of him. Here is McMahon, goes back the way to June, midway inside the Rangers half, still out on the left. It's McMahon once more, and Behich up against Tavernier. Behich trying to get away from the Rangers captain. Feels like he's been pulled there by Tavernier. Referee hasn't given anything. Behich eventually just plays the ball off Tillman. Plays furiously Australian, saying he was being tugged by Tavernier. But Stephen McLean contents himself with awarding the throw-in out on the far side. 15 to play. Dundee United 0, Rangers 2. United need a goal. Something to cling on to and work towards in this closing quarter of an hour. It's Edwards on the halfway line, back to Smith. He'll be closed down by Kent. Smith hammers the ball forward, looking for McLeod. Davies just heads it clear. Barisic helps it on up to Kent. Kent with a little flick, looking to combine with Jack, but it's good play from Smith. Rangers have won it back once more. Kent gets the pass off before he's closed down by Zoom. Arfield gets the pass away out to Morelos, right hand side, right channel, up against McMahon into the penalty area, and it's again a little bit cumbersome looking from Morelos to try and get the shot off, and it's blocked away out to the far side for a throw in.
Tom, I think it was brilliant. The young lad McLeod's come on and he's playing like a 16-year-old.
He's ratting about the place. He really is. But you're right, Alistair. When the ball landed at Morelos' feet there was no sharpness about him. You didn't feel he was going to get an effort and goal, and he was kind of laboured to get his shot off, which was easily blocked.
Throw in Rangers, just a few yards away from the corner flag on the right hand side. So it's Kemar Roof, I see, getting the jersey on, ready to come on. It's been a long layoff again for him. He's had so many injury issues, Kemar Roof. I don't think it's just isolated to his time at Rangers either over his career, but when he's fit and firing, he's certainly a good player to have in your squad, and Michael Beale delighted to be able to introduce him for Malik Tillman for the closing 13 minutes of the game.
Yeah, he's in a stop-start time at Ibrox, but there's no doubt he has real qualities, popped up with some important goals for Rangers, and great to see him back on the pitch. It's been a long layoff for him. He was hugely influential in the title-winning season, wasn't he? Yeah, I mean, I think it's great to have options as a manager from the bench in attacking areas. It's all about getting his fitness up, getting his sharpness up, but Michael Beale will be really pleased to have another string to his bow.
Tillman goes off, having scored the second goal here and potentially secured the points for Rangers, although there'll be no one counting any chickens amongst that Rangers management team just yet. Dundee United still battling away, looking for a goal to get them back into the game. Lundstrom heads it forward. Roof trying to make a nuisance of himself up there alongside Morelos. Hacked away by the United defence. It will go out for a throw-in on this near side, the Rangers left, as Barisic comes to take 15 yards inside the United half. It goes back the way to Davies, infield to Lundstrom, who quickly knocks it on to Goldson, still inside his own half, out to Tavernier. Back with Goldson once more, takes a touch. Tavernier takes over again, crossing the halfway line on the right hand side for Rangers. Morelos on, that's a good ball. It's Arfield looking for the early ball in for Roof. Birighitti out to the edge of his 6-yard box to collect that one before Roof could pounce. 33 minutes played in this second period, and it's still Dundee United 0, Rangers 2.
I thought it was good goalkeeping actually, and quite often the goalkeepers stay on the line in that situation, but he advanced 6 or 7 yards and managed to pick the ball up.
Rangers pick up. Arfield for Tavernier, halfway line, back in field for Lundstrom square for Davies, and out to the left hand side for Barisic, halfway line. Lundstrom knocks it back to Davies once more. Rangers is keeping controlled possession, not allowing Dundee United any real impetus, any joy in coming forward as Tavernier clips it, looking for Roof. Roof won't quite get on, maybe he will get onto it. Birighitti in the end, out to foil him. The bounce of the ball fooled Liam Smith there, and Roof almost able to latch onto the pass, but Birighitti did well again, coming off his line, Craig, as you mentioned just a minute or two ago, to make sure Roof couldn't add to Rangers' tally.
It's good movement from Roof though. Sharp run in behind, the ball in was good. It just skipped away from him off the kind of surface, greasy, and brave goalkeeping from Birighitti. He's actually, he's had a good match. He's conceded 2, but he's made a lot of good stops.
Rangers have possession once more, just over 10 to play at Tannadice. 2-0 Rangers as Morelos picks up on the right channel. Tavernier tried to flick it out to Arfield, didn't quite come off. United have it over on the far side. It's McMahon. Infield to Hart, still deep inside his own territory, plays it to Liam Smith and out to this near side, the United right to Freeman, but he's forced back the way and has to go all the way back to his goalkeeper Birighitti, who takes a dodgy first touch, and Kent almost pounces, but the Australian goalkeeper gets it cleared just in the nick of time. It wasn't a really great back pass from Freeman, and Birighitti likewise didn't cover himself in glory with his first touch, but his second was safe enough, unable to clear the danger. Rangers have it back though, just outside their own penalty area. It's Lundstrom keeping things ticking over. Now Goldson, not in a great hurry right now. Rangers with the 2-goal advantage and looking good for the 3 points as things stand.
They've been in total control in this second half. They really have. United have changed their shape, they have made substitutes, but they really are struggling to have any impact on the game. It's really been all Rangers.
And for all their upturn in form, United, if they lose this one, will just be 3 points above bottom spot and still in that relegation playoff.
Yeah, Malky Mackay will be happy with today's results, I'll tell you that.
I would imagine he will be. Ross County with a lot of work to do though to get out of the sticky spot they find themselves in at the bottom of the table. Albeit, by all accounts, they were well in the game yesterday against Livingston. There's a ball forward for Roof. Thought the flag might go up, and eventually it does once United defend the situation, and it will be a free kick to United just outside the penalty area. United probably haven't offered enough in this second half, Craig.
No, they haven't, but again, you know, as much as we congratulate Dundee United on the way they performed in the first half, you have to congratulate Rangers for the way they've played in the second half. And when one team's in the ascendancy, you can't have two teams in the ascendancy, and Rangers have been much better.
Free kick taken by Birighitti, launches it long, June picks up, it's a poor pass forward from him though. Tavernier slides it forward for Morelos, he can get turned and then he knocks it forward down the right for Kent. Kent looking to find a bit of room for a cross, right angle of the penalty area, goes back the way to Lundstrom, midway inside the United half. Jack now, Tavernier out to the right hand side. Rangers in no real rush to keep going forward. Tavernier and Lundstrom almost contriving to lose possession, but managed to keep it in the end, although Lundstrom has to go back to his goalkeeper John McLaughlin, who plays it out to Davies, and then it's back with McLaughlin, who plays it out. Straight ball to Lundstrom, back with McLaughlin once more. Now Davies just outside his penalty area. Aimless ball forward from Davies. United pick up. Freeman forward, Davies gets the head to it. Roof nods it down for Kent, who lobs it forward. Morelos is onside, tries to go for goal. That's audacious from Morelos, not a bad idea. A couple of yards wide of goal in the end, but if it had been on target it might have looped over Birighitti and gone in, but as it was, Morelos off target. Remains Dundee United 0, Rangers 2.
It was ambitious, it really was ambitious, but Birighitti was off his line. Morelos saw that. I don't think he's quite in that kind of vein of form just now for that to come off for him.
Or he couldn't be bothered running all the way to the goal with the ball.
Cynical. Birighitti takes the goal kick, knocks it long. Goulson wins the header. Jack wins the second ball. Now it's Roof. Can't find a teammate though. June picks up. Can't get it beyond Jack. Jack's done well. June hacking away at him, but Jack's strong enough to hold on to possession. Plays it off to Tavernier. Tavernier back to Goulson. Goulson first time plays it long over the top. Jack's made a run down the right channel. Don't often see him making such runs, but here he is in possession just outside the penalty area. Plays it short to Arfield, right hand side of the box. Off Ryan Edwards for a Rangers corner, and this is where Rangers want to have possession with 6 minutes left with a 2-goal lead. It's a Rangers corner, and United struggling to find a way back into the game.
Yeah, and supporters leaving in their droves now from the United ends. You know, they'll be pleased, and I'm pretty sure Liam Fox will say in his post-match that he'll be so pleased with the first half performance, but in truth in the second half, you know, Rangers just upped it a level and United couldn't cope.
Barisic lining up the corner from the right hand side for Rangers. The left foot of the Croatian sends it in near post, headed away at the near post by Tony Watt. Tavernier will retrieve and knock it all the way back to John McLaughlin, who's way outside of his penalty area. Back with Tavernier, closed down by McLeod, but gets the pass off to Kent. Kent tries to go past his man. Arfield picks up and plays it back to Kent. Kent can't get past June. I can't get my words out.
Don't worry, I've got a similar problem.
Here's Watt, but surrounded by Rangers players, and coughs up possession. And Ryan Jack picks up for Rangers. It has been a good performance from Rangers second half. They started brightly in that second period, and now it's all about just keeping a hold of the ball, not doing anything rash, and seeing out the victory, which will take them back to within 9 points of leaders Celtic. Here's Jack. Jack out to the right hand side for Tavernier. It's a good ball. Tavernier, decent first touch, edge of the penalty area, back for Kent. Kent infield for Lundstrom, midway inside the United half. Lundstrom back for Davies. It's a good ball forward for Morelos. Morelos brings it under control, tries to find Lundstrom, but Jum nicks it. Might he find a way through here? It's McLeod picking up 30 yards from goal. He goes for goal, but it's wide of target. Again, it's ambitious from the young man, and didn't really threaten John McLaughlin there, but he had nothing in the way of support. I don't suppose he had too many options.
No, he didn't. I like his confidence to take the shot on. You know, 16 years old, gets onto his left foot. He's probably 20 yards out in the angle. He's got the bottle to hit the shot. He didn't catch it particularly cleanly, but nice to see him have a go.
Goldson finds Arfield down the right. It's a good ball from Goldson, and Arfield will keep that in. Touches it back infield for Roof, midway inside the United half. Plays it square for Jack. Barisic out to the left-hand side now, up against Freeman, about 20 yards from the goal line. Barisic swings one in, but it's a poor cross from Barisic. He started the second half well, Craig, as you mentioned a couple of times, but that wasn't one of his best crosses either.
Yeah, I mean, this has been quite a strange game, actually, you know, and I feel also that Rangers have kind of taken their foot off the gas as the game has worn on. You know, once we got past midway in the second half, the tempo started to slightly come out of it, and ever since then it's just sort of almost slowed.
Yeah,
right
and I feel
down.
the same for United. They've kind of, the energy that they were shown in the first half for the last 20 minutes hasn't quite been there either. They've just kind of been suffocated by Rangers, really.
Goldson wins the header from the goal kick by Birighitti. Morelos brings it under control, knocks it back to Arfield, and now Tavernier out to the left-hand side. First time ball is a good one for Kent. Barisic in support. Kent up to the angle of the box, left-hand side. 3 players around him. Zoom gets a toe to it, comes to Barisic though. Now it's Jack just outside the penalty area, plays it square for Lundstrom, about 30 yards from goal. Back it goes to Jack on the left-hand side. Barisic almost on the touchline on this near side, the Rangers left. Nudges it back to Jack once more, and now it's Kent. Rangers just playing keep ball. United can't get near it with 2.5 minutes to play. Getting back into the game is looking like a forlorn hope for them. It's Tavernier picking up. Rangers fans beginning to celebrate what they feel is a victory. Goldson out to the near side. It's Barisic crossing the halfway line. Kent is with him. Still Barisic though. Looks infield, but then eventually does play it to Kent. Back into Ryan Jack, advancing towards the edge of the penalty area. Good pass for Arfield, he can't nick it past McMahon, who likewise can't find a teammate. Straight out of play, and it will be a Rangers throw-in, and we are into the last couple of minutes of the 90. There will be some time to be added on at the end, but Dundee United haven't looked like getting back in once they fell 2 goals behind. It's always looked like a Rangers victory this afternoon. Tannadice. Here's Barisic bursting down the left-hand side. What's his cross like this time? Pretty poor, in truth. Easy for Birighitti to catch. And he's looking for options. And eventually bowls it out to the left-hand side for Beich. Ball in field. Almost gives Roof a chance to nick possession, but United managed to keep it. Watt doing well just to retain the ball there. And now it's Smith up to the halfway line. Out to the right-hand side, and it's Harks. United going to make a late change in the shape of Archie Meekison coming on. Zoom forward for McLeod. He can't keep it. Knocking Freeman as it breaks to him, and Barisic shows good composure and skill, and then he's caught by Freeman. He's angered by that challenge from Barisic. It looks like a pretty cheap shot from Freeman, and the yellow card's going to come out for the wing-back. I think that's the first we've seen all afternoon when Barisic limps away as Meekison prepares to come on here for Dylan Levitt for the closing few seconds of the game. It remains Dundee United 0, Rangers 2.
Just a bit of frustration there from Freeman. Barisic knocked it over the top of his head, and he obviously didn't like that. He's 2-0 down, there's a minute to go. Took a cheap shot at Barisic. He's every right to be angry about that one.
Rangers free kick then, as the 4th official prepares the board. Connie Goldson preparing to take the free kick. 2 minutes only to be added on, which is curious given that you're supposed to get 30 seconds for each substitution. John McLaughlin in the end will take the free kick. We're into the injury time already. Looks like there's going to be a late Rangers change as well. I think it's Scott Wright who's stripped down in the technical area, and Morelos penalised as the ball comes forward from John McLaughlin. And he has a shove away at Freeman for no apparent reason. Double change actually. Young Adam Devine's going to get a brief run out as well as Scott Wright. Ryan Kent will come off. And is it going to be James Tavernier for... No, it's going to be Borna Barisic as Adam Devine will come on at left full-back, where he played pretty competently in Barisic's absence recently.
Well, he'll pick up a win bonus, or the full win bonus at least, for getting on the pitch. Maybe that's why Beale's done it. He's only on for 20 odd seconds.
Looks promising though.
Yeah, I've liked the look of him, I really have. He's looked steady in the games that I've seen him playing out of position as well. He's normally a right back.
United free kick into the final minute of added on time. It might be a little bit beyond the 2 minutes in the end after these late substitutions. Devine beaten to the ball by Harks. Looked like a foul there, but Stephen McLean doesn't award it. Rangers get their lines cleared. Harks certainly looked like he was taken out of play there by the young substitute. United pick up, and it's Freeman. Down the right it goes. Harks will give chase. Davies though showing a decent turn of pace to knock it back to McLaughlin, who clears his lines right, flicks it on for Roof, then picks up the return pass and then lays it off to James Tavernier. Tavernier over the halfway line for Jack. Jack to the left hand side, and it's Morelos up towards the edge of the penalty area. He'll go for goal, Morelos, but it's straight at Mark Birighitti. It remains Dundee United 0, Rangers 2, as United quickly try and burst forward. Looks like the game is beyond them though, as we're deep into stoppage time. A 2-goal advantage for the visitors. And Michael Beale will retain his unbeaten run, 5 wins from 6, as Stephen McLean draws the game to a close. It was a far improved performance from Rangers after the break, particularly at the outset, and they got 2 quick goals to show for their LA superiority. Fashion Sakala with a wonderful shot off the left foot from the left of the penalty area, flashing it past Mark Birighitti in the United goal. And then Malik Tillman shortly afterwards on the rebound after Sakala had been denied a second goal, firing in low from about 12 yards out, the American international. That was the end to the scoring. Dundee United couldn't find a response, and Rangers comfortably saw out the victory to move back to within 9 points of Celtic. There's still a huge gap at the top of the table, but at least from Rangers' point of view, it's not getting any bigger. It finished at Tannadice, with United still just 3 points off the bottom. Dundee United 0, Rangers 2.